Have you ever thought your life was perfect? That you had love, success, and peace? And then, in just one moment, everything changed? This is the story of Sofia Moreau, an architect in Paris, a woman who believed her heart was safe until she opened a notebook and her world fell apart. But this is not just a story of heartbreak. It's a story of healing, of quiet strength, and of building something new from the ruins. Stay with us. This story will help you learn English, and maybe it will help you heal too. Let's begin. Sofia Moreau stood at the edge of her balcony, the warm Parisian breeze brushing against her face. Below her, the Seine River flowed gently, reflecting the soft golden light of the early evening. This was the life she had built, one filled with beauty, purpose, and quiet satisfaction. She was an architect, one of the most respected in her firm, known for designing elegant luxury apartments in the heart of Paris. Her work had been featured in magazines, and her clients praised her creativity and attention to detail. At 34, Sofia believed she had it all: a successful career, a charming home in Montmartre, and now love. Julien, her fiancé, was an art dealer. He was intelligent, romantic, and always brought her little gifts: paintings from new artists' poetry books, or fresh roses from Rue Claire. They had met at a gallery opening 2 years ago, and after many long walks through the city and quiet dinners in candlelit cafes, he had proposed to her under the Eiffel Tower. She had said yes with tears in her eyes, believing her life was finally complete. The wedding was only a week away. Sofia had taken a few days off work to prepare. Her days were filled with flower arrangements, final dress fittings, and confirming guests. On a rainy Wednesday afternoon, she returned to Julien's apartment to drop off their wedding rings. He was at work, and she knew where he kept the safe in his study. She walked into the room and opened the drawer to take the small velvet boxes out. But something else caught her eye: a leather-bound notebook resting on the desk. It wasn't locked or hidden. Curious, she opened it. Inside were letters, dozens of them, some dated only a few weeks ago. As her eyes moved across the pages, her heart began to race. I miss you. I think of you every morning when I wake up and every night before I fall asleep. She is wonderful, but she is not you. Sometimes I wish we could go back in time and never let go. The letters were all addressed to Clara. Clara, his ex-girlfriend. The one he had told Sofia was just a part of the past. The room felt colder now. The rain tapped harder against the window. Sofia sat down, her hands shaking. She read one letter after another, each one confirming her deepest fear. Julien still loved Clara, and he had never sent these letters. Why? Was it guilt or cowardice? Either way, the truth was in front of her. Julien was about to marry her while holding on to another woman in his heart. She left the apartment without the rings. Back in her own apartment, Sofia fell apart. She didn't sleep that night. The next morning, she canceled the wedding. Julien called. He texted. He even came to her door, begging her to understand. I love you, Sofia, he said, his voice desperate. No, she replied calmly. You love an idea of me, but your heart is still with someone else. I deserve more than that. After that, she shut her phone off and stayed inside. She canceled her meetings. She ignored her friends. Days passed, then weeks. She watched the world from her window. Paris moved on, but she didn't. One morning, a month after the breakup, Sofia sat on her balcony with a cup of coffee. She had not drawn a single sketch since the discovery. Her sketchbooks were collecting dust. Her mind felt dull and heavy, like winter had taken residence in her heart. She picked up a notebook, a plain one she had bought months ago, but never used. She opened to the first page and began to write. Today the sky is gray and my heart is still broken. But I saw a little girl chasing pigeons in the square below, and it made me smile. Maybe healing starts with noticing small things. Each day, she wrote a few lines about her feelings, about the city, about the color of the flowers in her neighbor's window box. Slowly, something inside her started to shift. She began walking again. At first, only a few blocks, then across the river. She stopped at cafes with her journal. She watched people. She listened to street musicians. The pain was still there, but it no longer controlled her. One afternoon, while walking near Place des Abysses, she noticed a small bookstore she had never entered before. Its wooden sign read Le Temps Retrouve. The name pulled her in. Inside, the smell of old paper and fresh coffee welcomed her. Books filled every corner. A man behind the counter looked up and smiled. "Bonjour," he said softly. "Bonjour," Sofia replied. He was older than her by about 10 years. Silver strands ran through his dark hair, and his eyes were kind. His name was Mark, the owner of the store. They talked briefly. She bought a novel by Marguerite Duras. The next week, she returned. Then again. Mark never asked about her past. He only asked what she was reading or what she thought about a line in a book. Their conversations were gentle, like slow music. One evening, Sofia found herself telling him everything. About Julian, the letters, the canceled wedding. Mark listened without interrupting. When she finished, he nodded and said, "Some people confuse possession with love, but real love doesn't need to hold on so tightly. It just wants the other person to be happy, even if it means letting go." Tears welled in Sofia's eyes, but they were not bitter this time. They were soft, warm, healing. Spring came. The city changed color. Sofia returned to her office, taking on a new project, a community library in the 14th arrondissement. It was different from her usual luxury designs, but it felt right. She wanted to create something that would bring people comfort. Mark visited the site one afternoon with coffee and fresh croissants. They sat on a bench, watching the workers place the first stone. "You're building something beautiful," he said. She smiled. "Yes, and this time, it's not just for money or prestige. It's for me, for others." They didn't kiss. Not yet, but their hands brushed. And that was enough. That night, back on her balcony, Sofia wrote, "I thought love was a perfect picture, a moment under the Eiffel Tower. But maybe love is quieter than that. Maybe the book shared, a bench beside someone who listens. Maybe healing is building again, not what was lost, but what's next." She closed her notebook and looked out at Paris. The lights shimmered on the river. People walked hand in hand along the cobbled streets. And inside her heart, there was peace. Sofia had loved. She had been hurt, but she had not been broken. She had chosen herself. And that made all the difference. If you enjoyed this story, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more emotional English stories. Thank you for watching.